No, no,
No,
no,
no,
no,
no,
no.
no, 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 no,
AJ,
no.
you stink at this.
I'm helping.
You're terrible. You're not on beat. All right, cut the music.
Ah!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of NonPro's TV Party. On
Woo!
NonPro's TV Party, we do a live Google Plus Hangout series where we geek out about our favorite television shows and invite you all to join along. We're not just recapping TV, we're loving it. How do you guys like this episode? We
What what
oh,
show are you talking about, James?
I don't know, what
And
show
would
do
you
you
like
want
to
to be
know these
talking
people
about?
that you were talking to?
I'm here with.
Oh,
I'm
um,
joined not at all in studio by Matt
Hello.
and AJ. Hi guys.
yeah.
I
Awesome.
I am also not in studio. I am here visiting some friends in California, which is why we are so unfortunately lacking the theme music.
Yeah.
In this week's episode, titled "Among Us Hide," we see Bobby return to the field alongside May. Uh, After Hunter's mistake from last episode, Coulson gets a tour of the ATCU's facility, and Daisy and the team investigate leads on Lash.
Yeah.
Yes.
That totally happened.
Yes, that's very observant, AJ. All right, opinions of the episode. You go first, James.
I really liked this episode. I thought this episode was really good. I thought also definitely having the kind of week between uh, the episodes to find out kind of what happened after the end of last week's cliffhanger or 2 weeks ago's cliffhanger really helped me get excited coming into this episode. You know, kind of gave me a nice period of time away from what we were dealing with that made me even more excited about it.
Yeah, I'll totally agree. I really liked the episode. I thought everybody had some really cool character moments. We got some really nice story development, and actually a really big twist at the end, which I thought was handled great, just visually and story-wise. Um, and yeah, I kind of did like the break in between episodes. I love how Agents of Shield really doesn't like dragging things out. They just have things like hold on just long enough where it builds up the tension, but then it gets resolved. So like you feel satisfied. You get a nice build up and you get the satisfaction at a good time. So
Yeah, I like that's another thing I like about the series in general is they don't drag out the plot lines, but at the same time they break it up with other plot lines in there. Like the last episode had nothing to do with this current plot line, you know?
mm,
Like you're not just getting it. You know, they didn't just cliffhanger and then immediately the answer. Oh, cliffhanger and let's just take a second to talk about these people. I don't know. I thought it was cool.
yeah, there's always something interesting to follow. It's not like there's no wasted episodes, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk about the three big plot lines for this episode, and let's start with May and Bobby. So May is back, and she's out for blood, obviously,
A little bit.
after the events of 2 weeks ago, where Ward shot her ex-husband, who we
Like
find
you
out is
do.
okay, which is good.
Yay!
So I was very excited about that. Obviously, I was worried that something terrible might have happened to him, but he seems like he made it out okay. Um, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But I was excited to see Bobby return to the field and see the show do a lot of, I don't want to say like generic spy stuff, but again, they've been doing some good spy stuff recently. You know, between Hunter and May going after Ward, and now Bobby and May back in the field, looking for Von
Uh,
Strucker.
yeah.
And don't forget Sky and Hunter working together as spies. That's interesting to see.
Yeah,
Interesting dynamic there.
I'm sure we'll get to that in just a moment. But back to Bobby and May. I liked how it was pretty much a complete opposite of Hunter and May, where Hunter and May was like, okay, let's go find these people, fight them, kill a guy, and then we'll achieve our objective. Where they go a bit more finesse, where they actually try infiltrating and using actually, spying to find their
Fine.
information. But in the end, it all goes down to fighting. It all leads to that. And then
Well,
what I really enjoyed is kind of like the dynamic between May and Bobby, with May kind of being like sort of like a mentor figure for Bobby, which makes sense. Both of them are S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, and May is obviously the senior member, and actually looked to recruit Bobby a while ago. And it was really cool to see the two of them interact and work and have them expound on like their history as part of the old S.H.I.E.L.D. organization.
I completely agree. Uh, I really enjoyed that dynamic. I got a little I don't want to say touchy, but a little like freaked out when May first obviously approached Bobby to kind of test her to see if she was ready to go out into the field. I thought like, whoa, 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 May's like crazier than Hunter right now. Is she
She's
like?
legit picking up weapons and attacking the person during their physical training exercises. Yeah, that's a little harsh.
But it turned out to be just what Bobby needed—a real kick in the pants to get her back out in the field, and I liked it. As much as Bobby's been fun quipping with Fitz, we need her back out there. We want the show to have some good action, and the good action definitely comes from having a lot of our characters in the field.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, it's as painful watching her sitting in the office being awkward as it must be for her to actually be there. you know?
But although we did find out how she's kind of a little hesitant to be back in there, and how that kind of there was a bit of an internal struggle where she really didn't want to start fighting. So I wonder if they're gonna continue with that, which would be a neat little character dynamic, a bit maybe to give her a bit more depth. Is like
It
how
was
she's kind of questioning herself now that like after she was shot.
it was very neat and very humanizing, and I liked it. Because they do spend a lot of time saying how awesome Bobby was, and like how May was like, I saw you in the academy, and you were literally better than every other person that ever existed. it's nice. It's nice to see her like a little wounded. I don't know. That might make me a bit of a jerk, but like I don't know.
No, I
But
agree. I think
mm,
I think like you and Matt said, it was humanizing. It definitely helps bring her down kind of to our and some of the other characters' level, and that's good.
so let's bring up what AJ was talking about before. On the other end of the spy spectrum, we have Hunter, Daisy,
Oh,
and
I'm sorry.
Mac trying to find information about Lash.
Yeah, I liked this. Daisy and Mac obviously got to do a lot of more traditional spy stuff as well, which is pretty cool. And I know everybody's pissed off at Hunter, but I mean he also had some good showing in this episode where they were like, all right, well, I guess you legitimately had some good ideas. We
I mean, 'cause
begrudgingly accept that.
Hunter's a spy, you know. In I don't know. Like they all look down on him because all he does is walk up, punch someone in the face, and ask him questions. But you don't always need thousands of dollars worth of gadgets to figure out someone's home address. you know?
What I what I really like what they're doing, looks like what they're doing right now, is how they're kind of differentiating Hunter from the rest of the team. They're really playing up his more mercenary attitude. They
Mhm.
sort of like started with that when they first introduced Hunter by making very hot-headed and like even going to shooting May on like their first mission. But after a while, it did seem like he was
He was
pretty much just becoming like the rest of the team, except a little bit snarkier than normal. But having him like start doing like more extreme tactics about walking up to a guy, shooting him, and then punching him to get a blood sample. It really shows like how rough around the edges he is. But like AJ said, sometimes that's what you need, and that's how you sometimes you get results.
exactly. And yeah, I do think he was definitely blending into the cast way too much. And what we don't need is another generic S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. We got plenty of nameless ones of those.
Well,
You know,
particularly, I was going to say, particularly if they plan to continue on with this Bobby Hunter spinoff, we'll want them to stand out in a way that makes them kind of need to go off on their own. And I think
yeah,
Hunter's kind of roguishness would be a good reason for that.
Yeah, I think like his scenes really sold the idea of that series, that spin-off series, as an actual possible and workable thing. Just
yes.
saying like, yeah, we have two different dynamics that we know can work together, but like they're now that they're being fleshed out more, I think now there's something solid and concrete that you could build a whole entire show foundation on.
But I feel like I like that it's doing it subtly.
Mm.
I've been watching a lot of Arrow Flash recently, and I feel like
Mm.
both of the shows have had
Subtlety.
have had episodes that's setting up their third series, Legends of Tomorrow, but it's clearly like, well, all these characters are dead, so we need to dedicate entire episodes to bringing them back to life and into canon, so that the show can happen. And I feel like it's just so
Heavy-handed.
heavy-handed. Yeah.
Mm.
So by differentiating this, subtly is important as compared to you know, just kind of dedicating all their
Polishing it,
time to it.
throwing it on the air.
Yeah.
Um, do we want to move on to Coulson and Rosalind?
Oh,
I think so.
they're
And
a
mind you,
cute couple.
I
Are we
almost
shipping
wrote
it?
in. I almost wrote in our description Coulson and Rosalind have their first date, but I didn't know
That's
if that
pretty much
was
what it is.
fair. So I guess here's my honest to gosh question: is Rosalind a good person, or is she playing him?
I think that's the question. I think that's the beauty of all their interactions. You would assume both of them are playing both of them, but I don't know. Maybe Rosalind is being genuine. Maybe Coulson is kind of losing his touch in the spy game and like letting him be played a bit. It's kind of this very cool like cat and mouse game where like you don't know who to trust,
Yeah.
but they do need to work together, at least on the surface, to achieve like a mutual objective. And so like you don't know what's everybody's game. It's very much the master chess game where you have the younger agents out in the field doing the action. You have Coulson and Rosalind sitting in a room
Playing
uh,
chess.
playing pretty much playing chess, but almost in a sense like playing an even more important game on like the directions of their organization.
hmm Yeah. I mean, when I first met Rosalind, when I first saw her, I thought, she is way too hokey and way too good for Coulson. That she is clearly a trap. And I think it's exactly what Coulson saw too. Now, my concern is I do think she's a trap, and I'm afraid because Coulson has always worn his heart on his sleeve. He always has a soft spot for the people he cares about, and if she works herself into being one of the people he cares about, I think that could actually be a liability for the entire organization because they have conflicting. I mean, as even though they're both working to deal with, and that they're both working to deal with the inhuman situation, and while she's literally dealing with it, and she obviously has her own personal reasons for doing it certain ways, and which might make her cold and more methodical, whereas Coulson is very hard on his sleeve, like I said before. So he's very he's the one who hired a freaking therapist. There's a difference. Locked them in a box, hired a therapist for them. So they're dealing with she's dealing with the Inhumans as dangerous to themselves and society, and she's locking them away to protect society, whereas Colston's locking them away to protect them. I feel like
I
the
think it's
motives are important.
Yeah, I think even simpler than that. It's to her the Inhumans are something to be fixed and cured. To Coulson, they're a group to be helped.
They're
It's
people to be helped.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he knows Daisy. He has someone who's obviously healthy and great, and like not a terrible monster, and saw the Inhuman City and all these people that were good people. It's the same as good and bad. I think I maybe side a little bit more with Daisy, that I feel like Coulson could be more outraged. at some of the things that he's seen or happening or that are happening, but I certainly think like he's also playing it a little close to the chest.
Yeah,
So
I
I don't
mean,
know.
he's a very tactful person, and just displaying outrage would immediately just have him kicked off the facilities, and they'd stop working together. So he's got to play it close to the chest if he wants to make any headway in this situation. But it's still not a very good situation.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what direction they're going to go with this. I thought the whole entire scene with Rosalind's house and like Coulson inspecting the house, I feel like that scene. I think that scene kind of like plays to AJ's idea that Rosalind isn't who she says she is. Just the fact like with the brand new furniture, the odd collection of biographies of Margaret Thatcher for some reason, and the obviously the baseball bat with all the things, and then her story about her husband that died. It's definitely very
Yeah,
sympathetic, almost suspiciously sympathetic.
I feel
yeah,
like
it's
we're all too suspicious. We're just looking for villains in this season where there aren't any. We think Will's a villain. We think
Yeah,
Rosalind's a villain.
there.
that's
Hey, have you seen Hydra? Yeah, there are villains in this series. Just
Ward doesn't count.
Ward.
He's just crazy.
Ward is the
Yeah,
most honest villain on the show.
yeah, but I mean, they're spies. We're not supposed to trust them. Don't forget that.
Well, touching briefly on Ward, we actually got a new introduction to a new member of Hydra, or at least a old member of Hydra, I guess technically. Um, I forget the character's name. I forget the actor's name, but the man that kind of sold out Von Strucker in the end to
Hmm.
Ward, but also seemed to be kind of like against Ward. I made the joke where he's the old Hydra and Ward is the millennials Hydra, where the old guy is like, well, you darn millennial Hydra agents trying to think you're being independent and not follow the old rules. Hydra and Ward's like, screw you, Dad. You're not the boss of me anymore.
But you can see that he definitely doesn't want the drama of running Hydra. He's like, I'll let you do stuff, but I'll intervene every once in a while if I think you're really gonna screw it up.
And now, is he somebody we're supposed to know? Like, I'm trying to remember if we've seen him before. They certainly, the way they showed his face looked like, you know what I
They
mean?
they
Like,
were expecting us to already know who he was.
yeah.
Okay, the actor's name is Powers Booth. He's a
Okay.
actor I think is a pretty well known film and TV actor.
Yeah, I definitely
Uh,
recognized him from his
I
past,
think
but
he was actually in the Avengers as one of the World Security Council members, but he is supposed to play a completely different character.
oh,
This one is the character's name is Gideon Malik. I'm not that big on comic book history, especially with the Shield comics, so maybe he's an important figure in Marvel Comics. But I think the shot with him really kind of establish him as he's going to be a guy that's probably sticking around for a while. So I mean, I don't think he's supposed to be someone that we already know, but I think he's going to be a major player for at least this
His name
season.
his name was Gideon Malik.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying. I'm having trouble finding that in Google, so I don't know if we're supposed to already know who he is, but
I think he
definitely,
might be original.
yeah, he's definitely an interesting addition to the cast.
all right. Well, before we finish up, let's talk about the big spoiler at the end of the episode. And I'd like to state it here that my wife, Katie, called this 2 hangouts ago, and she would definitely, I'm sure, like it that that was known that she called this one.
Yeah, she's usually in the room for these hangouts, but she's back here in Jersey with us, cool people. She's not over on that coast.
Well, I want to let it known that I super called it by calling
Oh,
it
2 seasons
exactly.
ago.
I mean, I I called it exactly, although technically it was from the online community that I read, but I believed it, so I went with it. That
I believed what other people said, so I get the
so
credit
I
too.
didn't dismiss it, so technically I kind of called it in a way.
I believe so.
Anyway, Andrew is Lash.
Yes.
Oh.
I just
Oh.
want to say that the whole entire transformation sequence, I thought that was superbly done with like costumes and effects. Probably
Mhm.
one of the best I've seen in television. It was real. I thought it was really well done, like in how like the smoothly the transition went.
It certainly didn't look bad. I've seen better, but it certainly didn't look bad.
Oh
Um,
wow, Mr. Hoity-toity.
Yeah, what a
I watched a lot
snob.
of TV. Um,
Too much TV.
yeah. So no,
TV party.
it was good. I think I'm concerned of like I honestly have no idea what are the larger implications. I'm asking the same questions as Sky. Why does he just? Is it just the Inhumans he doesn't get to profile, so he takes them out? Like, is it a jealousy thing? Like, I'm not sure what his motivations are.
Is
I
it
think
He hasn't gone after Sky. He hasn't gone after. He hasn't gone after. Any of the Inhumans obviously held by Coulson, but all these other Inhumans he's going after, and I want to know why. Like, why? What
why he doesn't just
differentiates
go
the
catch
good
them?
from the bad?
well, it's kind of interesting. In the comics, Lash, the Inhuman, his whole entire deal is like he hunts down humans he feels like are unworthy of having the Terrigen powers. Um, and I think this kind of plays really interestingly with Andrew, where he is obsessing over profiling in humans and finding out about them. I feel like that's going to be a major issue. But the big thing, which I think is going to be the huge source of why Andrew is conflicted and maybe even crazy, is that Inhumans ruined his life years ago, back in Bahrain, with May on that mission
Yeah.
Oh, that's a
after
good thought.
like the unregistered rogue Inhumans led to May like kind of like May's breaking point and how it kind of ruined their relationship, ruined their plans for a family, and kind of ruined their future together because
Yeah.
humans um was just like the rogue Inhuman kind of like caused all this trouble, all this issue, caused all the
Drama.
trouble, all the drama, yeah, in a sense, because they weren't controlled. So I'm not sure what it means for how it feels like his relationship with Daisy. I mean, because on the one hand, Andrew, I think Russ realized that Daisy is the closest May has gotten to a daughter. So
Yeah.
that's really a mind bender. But also, Daisy is the biological daughter of the woman that screwed his life because Jia Yang um, dropped the ball when it came to the girl.
That's a
So,
really good theory.
so there's all the layers of
Crazy dynamic.
conflict.
All right. Well, I think that's a lot for us to ponder
Absorb
on,
that.
Matt.
Yeah, let's just chew on that for a bit next
Oh,
Tuesday.
yeah, choke on
So
that.
yeah, everybody. I hope everybody had a good time. If there's anything more you guys want to talk about, please reach out to us. Comment in the comment
Comment.
section below, or reach out to us on non-productive.com and talk about some more television with us. With us, we'd love to have you.
Yeah, also be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed what you're watching today. Be sure to check out all of our other awesome videos on the channel. I know we've been actually using it a lot this month. There's like I know I have a couple videos up. I know our producer Frank has put some video. I know
Oh
Jake.
yeah, we did the Lazy Foley Studios production of some comic, which was ridiculous.
Um, so yeah, be sure to like and subscribe and drop us a line.
Yeah.
Matt,
All right.
play us out.
Well, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. And okay, I'll start playing us now. Da na 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 na